the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, lower yourself, humble yourself before his opinion. When you and I are in the middle of an argument and somebody quotes a hadith, shh. Whether you agree with the interpretation or not, you don't even know if it's sahih or not, I don't know. But the fact that the Prophet was quoted, allegedly quoted, go do your homework later. Right now you don't want to take the chance of raising your voice above the voice of the Prophet ﷺ. Even the way we disagree with each other in religion needs to be humbled by this principle. So when I'm talking and somebody says you are wrong because Rasulullah ﷺ said this, I say, okay.
This clip is from our longer, deeper look of Surah Al-Hujurat, a series which is now being released exclusively on bena TV. Begin your Quran journey now by visiting benatv.com to watch the full-length episodes in this series along with dozens more taught by Ustadh Numan Ali Khan.
Just some things about Rasulullah and how we shouldn't talk about him casually. A couple of things here. One of them is the way the Sahaba addressed him. This is remarkable. From a communication psychology perspective, this is absolutely mind-blowing. The Prophet ﷺ is a human being. He has human relationships. He's got nephews, he's got spouses, he's got cousins, he's got uncles, right? And he's got best friends. Anybody who accepts Islam doesn't refer to him with any of those basic relationships. My best friends, even if they're my students, my best friend, even if he's my student, is still going to call me Norman or my best friend, or my friend. He's not going to call me my teacher. He's not going to call me Ustad. That feels weird. You know? We went to college together. So what? I taught you some Arabic, so what? I have that relationship with him too, but really one relationship overrides the other, the fact that he's my friend. My spouse, I teach my spouse. I teach my child. Even if I teach my child, if I teach Husna Arabic, if I teach her Arabic, I'm not her teacher. I'm still her what? Her dad. She's not going to call me Ustad. She's going to call me Abba. I'm her dad first. I've done other things for her, but that relationship that's been formed over years, that's maybe a bond of blood, a bond that is, so hard to break. I can have other relationships with her, but that one's not going to go away. Now, with other people who I don't know and I teach them, then to them I'm Ustad. Because I don't have any other previous relationship with them that determines what ties me to them. You understand? Rasulullah ﷺ has a relationship with Aisha. He has a relationship with Khadija radiallahu ta'ala. He has a relationship with Fatima. I mean, even think about Fatima. I mean, what daughter can think of her father as anything but her father? It's dad. But when she speaks about Rasulullah, she doesn't say Qala Abi. She says Qala Rasulullah. That's pretty formal, isn't it? His best friend since ever never says Qala Hamimi, Qala Sadiqi, Qala Rafiqi, Qala Khalili. Abu Bakr Siddiq always says what? Qala Rasulullah. His uncles never say, my nephew said. His spouses never say, my husband said. Whenever they cite from him, they call him what? Rasulullah. Every time. It's incredible. Their iman, when they internalize this, they internalize the fact that he's a messenger, it overrides everything else that he is. He's still the husband. He's still a father. He's still a best friend. He's still all of those things, but all of those things became second. And the fact that he's Rasulullah became first. That's why they were able to humble themselves before the Prophet the way they were. It's hard to humble yourself before. And by the way, those relationships didn't disappear. So sometimes the husband-wife thing happened. Right? And Allah let it happen. And when the husband-wife thing would get too far, then there would be kind of, you know what, this is Rasulullah. Ya ayyuhan nabi lima tuharrimu ma ahallallahu lak tabtaghi mardat azwaj. It's going too far. But there are other times where they can be just husband and wife, and it's not like that he's always considered Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala had, some interesting moments with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that husbands and wives have. They got into arguments. He even said, I think we need a counselor. So that happened, you know. And then he said, let's pick a counselor. She said, you pick. So he said, Zubair. He said, no, he loves you too much. So then he said, you pick. He said, Abu Bakr. Because that's her dad. So, I mean, that happened. They had those moments. But you know, even for Abu Bakr, when he walked in, he's supposed to walk in as his father-in-law. Okay, not his father-in-law, as his best friend. But he walks in as a follower of Rasulullah. Because when she talks to him as her husband, because, you know, when he said, why don't you speak? And she said, Aisha says, no, you speak first because I want to make sure you say the right thing. She's not talking to Rasulullah right now. She's talking to her husband. She's just thinking of him. But Abu Bakr doesn't process things that way. He says, you're talking to Rasulullah. He's trying to grab her neck. He came after her. And the Prophet ﷺ pulled him off and said, thank you. You can go now. And the problem was solved. But what I'm trying to get at is there is a duality. He's a husband and Rasulullah. He's my son-in-law and Rasulullah. He's my best friend and Rasulullah. But for them, fi ghalib al-ahyan, what overrides? For most of the time, it's the fact that he's Rasulullah. You know, for us, this is a lot easier. A lot easier. For us, he's just Rasulullah. He's just Rasulullah. He lives for us in a seerah book. He lives for us in Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmidhi. He lives for us in narrations. That's where he comes to life for us. He is to us a number of beautiful, priceless texts that are either read out loud and our ears hear them and we experience Rasulullah, or our eyes pass through some words and we experience Rasulullah. Somebody's reading a seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. You know, I remember this when I was like 16. I read my first seerah book and it was 4 chapters on the pre-Arab times, Jahiliyyah times. And when I got to the line where he was born, I stopped and I just started crying. Right? That's who he is to us, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Just this, he lives in these texts for us. So for us, he is already a constitution. He is already larger than life. But for them, he was a person walking around among them, living with them, dealing with them every day. The thing is, when you're with someone every day and you live with them, then the awe you have of them starts going down. It doesn't stay where it was. It starts deteriorating. I've experienced it. People see me on YouTube and they think I'm some kind of saint. Then they come to the Dream program. Everything changes. You know, people who, you know, wanted to work for bena. He's always going to be, everything that comes out of him is like Quran. He always talks about Quran. And then they work for me. And they're like, Ustad Noman, oh God, is he here? When you go behind the scenes, it's a different story. There's a real person with a lot of real flaws. Rasulullah ﷺ, these people are so intimately close to him. These are the closest people to him. You know, in my life and your life, the people closest to us are the least impressed with us. And the people furthest from us are the most impressed from us. Somebody listens to an imam recite in prayer. What an amazing imam. Oh my God, his qira'ah. Oh, I couldn't stop crying. And oh my goodness. Ask his brother, ask his father, ask his wife. You know what I'm saying? But Rasulullah ﷺ, this is a unique circumstance. He stands in a unique position that the people closest to him have the highest regard for him. And the next comparison to this that is found in human history is actually artificial. Kings, rulers, who when people are around the president, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, you know, Your Highness, Your Highness, Your Highness. They're hovering and, you know, fussing around them and showing high regard. But the moment the elections are over, the moment the presidency is over, the moment that they're at home with their own families, man, that guy's a jerk. I hate him. It's artificial. It's just part of the job. For some people it's genuine, but for most people it's like, I have to show all this flowery respect. Your Highness, Your Highness, Your Highness. But really, it has to be bought. It's part of an official protocol, or you lose your job. You have to. You only do that because you have something to gain, in the worldly sense. You have nothing to gain when you come with the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Bakr has nothing worldly to gain when he accepts Islam. He has only to lose everything he has. And yet the highest regard for the man who cost him his business, the man who cost him his status in society, the man who cost him his home. I mean, look at it in a worldly sense. All of his problems began when he called him Rasulullah. All of his problems. I mean, his family could come to him and say, things have been hard because of this. If your family comes to you and says, your friend has just been a problem for you, right? And they might say, I know he's your best friend, but he's just look at what has happened to you. But he never thought of him as his best friend thereafter. That wasn't the basis. The basis was Rasulullah now. So this is this lowering of the voice before the voice of the Prophet ﷺ. I'm establishing this so that the next ayat that come, inshallah, it'll be easy for you to realize. Now we have to talk about this in a collective sense. It's so amazing. This is the taqwa of Allah now. Wattaqullah. The first manifest. You're like, well, how do you get taqwa of Allah? Now you learn how to get taqwa of Allah. Show the utmost regard for the words of the Prophet ﷺ, the presence of the Prophet ﷺ. Lower yourself, humble yourself before his opinion. When you and I are in the middle of an argument and somebody quotes a hadith, shh. Whether you agree with the interpretation or not, you don't even know if it's sahih or not, I don't know. But the fact that the Prophet was quoted, allegedly quoted, go do your homework later. Right now you don't want to take the chance of raising your voice above the voice of the Prophet ﷺ. Even the way we disagree with each other in religion needs to be humbled by this principle. So when I'm talking and somebody says, you are wrong because Rasulullah ﷺ said this, I say, okay, done. And that's a matter of killing one's pride. That's a matter of really humbling oneself. When you're in the middle of an argument and somebody quotes a hadith, you don't see the hadith. You just see this person who's trying to win an argument. And sometimes they do that. Sometimes people pull out religious texts to win an argument, not because they genuinely want to remind you of a hadith, but because they know that that's the easy way to win, even if they're misusing it. This has happened even in my office. We have a certain policy, and the policy, let's say some policy that has to do with tuitions, and tuitions have to be collected by this date. And the person who's hired to make sure that they're collected and all of this other stuff says, yeah, we shouldn't really collect it on this date because Rasulullah ﷺ said, we should be lenient. Now, I'm going to be quiet. And then later on, I'm going to pull out that hadith. And I'm going to say, here's how you didn't show respect to this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. We should be lenient. But to put those words where they don't belong, and to misuse them, because it's easy to misuse. You can actually take the entire text of Islam and use it wherever it fits your agenda, or whatever the point you want to make. You could do that. It's very easy, actually. It's really easy. And I, for one, can see right away when it's being done. Like, oh wow, that was dirty. You take something so pure and use it for something so low to win an argument. But even when that is done, lower your voice. Even if you know it's being done. Just for yourself, not for the other. Give them the satisfaction of winning if they think that's winning. Just walk away from it. This is going to require a humility on our part. I hope you guys enjoyed that video clip. My team and I have been working tirelessly to try to create as many resources for Muslims to give them first steps in understanding the Quran all the way to the point where they can have a deep, profound understanding of the Quran. We are students of the Quran ourselves, and we want you to be students of the Quran alongside us. Join us for this journey on benatv.com, where thousands of hours of work have already been put in. And don't be intimidated, it's step by step by step, so you can make learning the Quran a part of your lifestyle. There's lots of stuff available on YouTube, but it's all over the place. If you want an organized approach to studying the Quran beginning to end for yourself, your kids, your family, and even among peers, that would be the way to go. Sign up for benatv.com.